Hey everybody, Mike Linville here of Black Dog Education, here to answer your questions about web design, web development, and online marketing with this week's installment of Office Hours. Now this week's question is, what is article marketing? And that's a really good question. It's actually a pretty simple concept. The idea behind article marketing is that as a user, I've got a certain level of experience in my niche. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write an article and then 300 to 500 words, and then I'm going to go ahead and submit that to different distribution channels. Could be newspapers, it could be magazines, it could be like these niche publications, something like that. If my article gets picked up by them, then the information that I wrote along with a byline, which is probably going to include a picture of me, my company name, a little bit about me, is going to go out to their subscriber base, right? This is a fantastic way to get your name out. Let me give you an example. If I'm a landscape company, what I might do is I might write an article about when the proper time to fertilize your yard would be, right? There's a lot of confusion about that. If you do it too early, it burns the grass. If you do it too late, the rain is going to wash the fertilizer away. So I may write an article, 300 to 500 words, and submit that to like my local newspaper, local building magazines and things of that nature. Now if that gets picked up, let's say for example it gets picked up by the newspaper, now my article is going to go out on the Saturday paper and it's going to go out to the newspaper's entire subscriber base. So for me, that's a big win because I get to introduce myself and my expertise to 10, 20, 30, 40,000 people, however many people get that newspaper, right? And the same thing happens online, right? Instead of sending it over to newspapers, newspapers, magazines, all that other stuff, you can submit these articles to online directories. You can submit them to niche blogs. You can send them a bunch of different places, okay? So the same thing works online, and in theory, I really like the concept. I like the idea of being able to, put your expertise out into the world, have people find you, and then come back to your website. That whole idea of inbound marketing as opposed to outbound marketing. Here's the problem, copywriters. Now I don't have a problem with copywriters. They've got a job to do, and many times they're good at what they do. But there are a lot of out-of-work copywriters right now. So what I can do is I can go over to something like an Elance or Odesk or one of these other online places, and I can hire a copywriter for $5 to $15 per article to write articles for me. I don't need to know anything about a topic. If I wanted to write articles about dog training, I could get for $1,000, I could have somebody write 100 articles for me about dog training. If I put those out into the web universe, there's probably some really good dog trainers out there that haven't written 10 articles or that don't have 10 blog posts on their site. So what's going to happen for the search engines, I'm going to look like the expert based on somebody else's knowledge. I don't really think that that's fair, and then ultimately what's going to end up happening, I can get them back over to my site, but I'm not going to be able to close the deal because I don't know what I'm talking about, right? So the first thing with copywriters is it lets people build up a false expertise based on somebody else's knowledge. I don't really care for that. The second thing I don't like about article marketing are these things called article spinners. And if you're not familiar with it, basically what an article spinner is, it's a software program that lets you take an article that you've written, you can drop it in one side of the article spinner, it'll take the words and move them around and spit out like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 copies. See, search engines don't like duplicate content. Like if you take the exact same content, the exact same article, a search engine isn't going to like that. They're only going to take a look at one, and sometimes they may even penalize you because they think that you're trying to spoof them. So if you run this stuff through an article spinner, now you've got that same article that may have started off okay, but now you've got 50 computer-generated copies out there. It's not duplicate content, so the search engines are still looking at the keywords, but the content has been generated by a computer, so how meaningful is that going to be to the end user, right? That's the second reason I don't really like this. For me, I don't particularly use it. A lot of people do, and the reason why they do is because it works, right? By using article marketing, what you do is you put a lot of content out into the world, a lot of keyword-rich content that ultimately will drive traffic back to your site, right? You get all these backlinks coming in, which are really good for search engine optimization. Now, my only request would be at this point, if you decide that you want to use article marketing, make sure that you do it responsibly, right? Make sure that you do it honorably and put your words out there. Don't just hire somebody to do it, because at the end of the day, you're probably going to get caught on it, okay? You're going to get called on it. And if you end up with a bad reputation online, that's very difficult to make go away, okay? So that's all I've got. Again, this is Mike Linville from Black Dog Education. I want to say thank you for hanging out. If you have any questions like this about web development, web design, online marketing, anything, make sure that you come by our Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/blackdogeducation. Post your question out there, and then we'll go ahead and answer it in this type of a format, okay? Now, if you like this video, make sure you do us a favor, like it on Facebook, share it with all your friends, do that social thing that you do. We really appreciate your time. Until next time, this is Mike Linville from Black Dog Education.